If you're on Social Security, retirement, SSI, SSDI, fixed income deposits that you rely on, count on a regular basis coming from the government, and are concerned about the future of the program, then you're going to want to stick around and pay very close attention to what I have to tell you in this video, especially what I have to tell you at the end of this video. Now, headlines, reports have been released here recently of negotiations and temporary suspensions of the debt ceiling, the debt budget, the national budget debt ceiling crisis, temporarily averted. However, low-income recipients are set to receive major Social Security payments changes in June, okay? And here we are in June 2023. Supplemental security income amounts will change for some recipients, and Social Security and other SSA payments processed through June and July may see an increase or potential decrease. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. My name is Kevin, Kevin in all caps, youtube.com/@Kevin247. Hope you guys are having an amazing and fantastic day. Now let's go ahead and dive right into this. We have reports from Forbes of new security warning issued for 1.8 billion users. We're going to touch on that, more on that, and more on an important subject being the urgent warning and red alert of the secret economic death trap. And potentially your bank could be next. So I've included information for everyone, all to see, all to watch, 100% free. There's a link in the description down below. I highly encourage you watch it. Very important breaking news. The collapse has begun, according to some, and a warning, a recession alert. The crash is coming, and we have to take the necessary precautions to prepare ourselves for just that. At a time where prices are going up, inflation is through the roof, jobs are at risk, fixed income and Social Security and other Treasury processed direct deposits could have been delayed, with also changes in the payment schedule for June and July. So June and July, and I believe again we'll see it in December, but in June, some Social Security recipients and beneficiaries will receive two checks. They'll receive their normal check in June, and they're going to receive their July check in June as well, which ultimately means that in July, they're not going to receive a July check because they got it early, because the payment date would fall on a weekend or a holiday. Therefore, it gets processed early, which is a perk. It's a plus. It's a benefit. Rather have it early than late. But at the end of the day, this doesn't necessarily help get ahead. This doesn't necessarily help alleviate the pressures and the negative impacts of these higher prices. Utility costs going up, food costs going up, taxes going up, insurance costs going up. As you guys can tell, I am enjoying this beautiful Florida weather here in Destin, Florida, and I just put up a video discussing some of the impacts to the Florida housing market, specifically and particularly the condo owners, potential condo owners or previous past owners, and some of the changes to the reserve requirements and the insurance costs, the replacement costs, the assessments. All these costs are going up. And I know that a lot of you, because you've told me, and I know how, because you guys come over and you're having these conversations with Michelle and I on Patreon, and I know you live in Florida. I know that you've come to Florida to retire. I know you're on a fixed income. I know that you're trying to find ways to solve the problems that you didn't really expect to have to face. So you got to think, the way that the current economy is, the way that the current housing market is, you're on a fixed income, you're in Florida, and you're thinking to yourself, well, for multiple reasons, one of which including health reasons, I can't really go anywhere. I need to stay in Florida, but I can't afford where I live anymore, due to, no fault of my own. Thanks, Jerome. Or maybe thanks Russia, thanks Ukraine. I'm not sure who we should thank for that one. Maybe thanks Joe. regardless, the situation is what it is. So, all right, well, maybe I could sell my condo, because you got to realize you're retired. You're, at a point in your life, at an age where you're saying, I am not going to be subject to yard work and maintenance and all these other things. So you live in a condo. Makes perfect sense. But with hurricane, storm warnings, Ryan Hall letting us know what is on its way, higher increased costs for insurance and replacement costs, assessments, insurance premiums. The list goes on and on. Changes with FEMA, federal mandates, the decline in the stock market, which ultimately has a huge impact and effect on these insurance companies. So you say to yourself, well, I need to move. Well, sounds great. However, in order to get out of the property and be made whole and quite possibly be compensated and paid, what you are rightfully owed for your property, your investment, easier said than done at a time where jobs are, at risk. It's somewhat of a shaky, sketchy job market. Interest rates are very, very high on mortgages. And, the mounting burden of added costs just further reduces the buyer pool likely to purchase your condo, which is also going to then hit them with an extreme ongoing responsibility of payment for HOA fees, homeowners insurance, assessments, maintenance, modifications. Some of these folks are being hit with multi-million-dollar claims for roof replacements just so that they can maintain their insurance. And it's crazy, and it's not going to stop. So ultimately, that will then lock you into having to stay in this condo, in this property, for which you can't afford either. Now, I don't want to get too far off topic here, off subject, but yesterday we were sitting right over there and we did a video with Chris Igo. It's on his channel, Chris Igo 1. And he was sharing information about how some of these complications and hurdles that are in place that are preventing folks from actually bettering themselves and improving their financial situation and their living conditions can actually be solved very simple and easily with creative financing, and allow buyers the opportunity to take advantage of the prime rates of 2020, 2021. So I'm not going to cover that here, but if you want to know more about it, go check out Chris Igo. Igo 1, Chris Igo 1, IGOE 1, number 1. But that's on top of this new $100,000 bill collapse as we move towards a digital age, central bank digital currency, global dollar reserve, trade reserve currency being challenged, de-dollarization, whistleblowers behind secret doors and exposed, and the banks and their stealing of savings. Is your money safe in the banks? You know my opinion on that one. As well as this K-shaped recovery that's only going to further widen the wealth gap and really put a lot of folks in a bind. But again, the video is in the description. Just when you're done watching this, watch that video. Do yourself a favor. You got to see it. And also there's some links down there so you can gain access to some of this money, because they're giving away $725 million. So all you got to do is have a Facebook account, as well as there's opportunities to make money replying to comments on Facebook. There's opportunities to make money from your smartphone. And all you need is a smartphone, a computer, laptop, internet connection. You can make money posting tweets on Twitter. But we got to make a change, okay? We gotta. Somebody said they commented, they said you cannot get ahead in an inflationary time, and I got to tell you guys, that's not true. That's not true. Inflation has always existed. It's just, is inflation 2% or is inflation 20%? And if inflation is 2%, but they're telling you, if inflation is 20%, but they're telling you it's 2%, we got to know the real truth, okay? But at the end of the day, inflation is real. Inflation is now. Inflation was before us, and inflation will be here after us, okay, tomorrow and the next day. The simple fact of the matter is that if you're not earning in excess of the rate of inflation, then yeah, you can't get ahead. But to say that you can't get ahead as a blanket statement in inflationary times, I gotta call bullshit on that one. But I do think we have some help on the way, possibly. Let me know your thoughts, because Mike Pence calls Donald Trump's policy on Social Security identical to Joe Biden's, ironically, and he seeks common sense within Social Security and Medicare reform. Now, 2024 potential presidential candidate and former Vice President Mike Pence called for common sense and compassionate solutions to reform entitlement programs and the national debt's burden, suggesting changes to Social Security and Medicare programs hurtling towards insolvency. As we know, the Social Security Trust Fund is on track to experience a deficit, knocking down payments to 80%, 20% reduction. Now, it'll be more in the future. And he says that what we need now is leadership, because if we act in this moment with the support of this generation, we can introduce common sense reforms that will never touch another one who is in retirement or anyone who will retire in the next 25 years. And this is what Mike Pence told an audience at the college, a bunch of students at Washington and Lee University in Lexington, Virginia. He said it just takes courage to do it, and that's where your generation will come in. Now, if you're speaking to a crowd of college kids nearing graduation, talking about you're not going to have to worry about retirement for the next 25 years, doesn't it sound like a Ponzi scheme? Doesn't it sound like a Ponzi scheme? Those kids ain't going to retire in 25 years. Odds are they're not going to retire in 25 years. I retired at like the age of 36, but I don't think that is normal. So they're going to devise a plan and restructure this Social Security for, two reasons. One, gain votes for potential presidential candidate Mike Pence, and two, temporarily kick the can down the road for 25 years, but at most, he's going to be allowed 8 years to serve. So eventually this will be a problem well after he's gone. But hey, that's what our government is good at doing. Postponing the inevitable instead of actually trying to solve real problems. What do you guys think? Comment down below. Let me know. Forbes has issued this new security warning, which issues a warning for 1.8 billion Google Gmail users. And the security of Gmail has always been one of its biggest selling points, but now one of its most important new security features is actively being used by hackers to scam users. This is terrible because this was introduced last month, okay? Gmail checkmark system highlights verified companies and organizations to users with a blue checkmark. And the idea is to help users discern which emails are legitimate and which have been sent by impersonators running scams. And unfortunately, scammers have tricked the system. Scammers have tricked the system. Just so you guys know, we've moved on. We're no longer talking about the government. I understand how there could be a little bit of confusion there as when I say scammers have tricked the system, but we're talking about Gmail and Google now. And like Social Security fraud and other scams that will be introduced to you all during this time of fear and uncertainty and panic of this debt ceiling and receipt of your fixed income payments and U.S. Treasury checks and direct deposits, you got to realize that these folks are preying on the weak. They're preying on the vulnerable. They're preying on those who need the most help, unfortunately. And sad to say, I don't think enough people are going to hear this message. I really don't. And it's not because of my own personal gain and how many views I receive on the video and the compensation I receive from it as being a monetized YouTube content creator, but it's just that my content just hasn't been getting the reach that it used to get. I don't know if I'm being suppressed. I don't know if you guys are ignoring it. I don't know if you're not seeing it. I don't know what it is, but to know that this threat is out there and it could potentially wipe out those who need this money the most, and any money that they get coming to them moving forward, even if Social Security were to see a shortfall deficit and their payments be slashed by 20 to 80%. The worst part about it is that they will never know the risk that is waiting for them in their email inbox that they think is going to potentially be helpful, because they're not going to see this video. It's sad, but it's true. And I do think that there's a lot of information that could be shared with so many people out there to help save them from potential devastation, but their odds are they're not going to see it, unless I clickbait it and make it look like a certain way. They're not going to see it. So it's unfortunate, but hey, I'm going to keep fighting the good fight and sharing this information with whoever receives it. Maybe you guys can share it from there. But honestly, this problem has actually happened to me with YouTube, and I made a video about it. I don't know if anybody saw it, but I made a video about it, and I received an email that was from YouTube. Now, it was a very, very intricate scheme for it to happen and actually be able to work. And when I approached YouTube about it, because I knew that it could not be true, when I approached YouTube about it, they initially told me that it was legitimate, until I pried a little bit further and I provided them with more proof and evidence, and they said, oh wait, no, that is completely inaccurate, that is not true, that is, do not reply, do not open that, do not download that file, any of that. They initially said, yeah, go for it. Man, this was YouTube who said this, okay? Anyway, spotted by cybersecurity engineer Chris Plummer, scammers have found a way to convince Gmail that their fake brands are legitimate, thereby using the confidence the checkmark system is supposed to instill against Gmail users. So you got to think, if you receive an email and you're like, I don't know, this might be kind of sketch, but it says it's from SSA.gov or some government entity, or it says it's from my employer or whatever it may be. It says it's from my insurance company and it's got the blue check. Then you feel like you can trust it. I hate to tell you guys, we're now to the point of which you have to believe half of what you see and none of what you hear, and you got to be really, really on it and diligent. And it says that Plummer reports that Google initially dismissed his discovery as intended behavior before his tweet about it went viral, and the company acknowledged the error. And this is exactly what happened to me with YouTube. They said, no, it's perfectly fine. And then I kept pressing them. I kept poking them, and they were like, oh wait, no, this isn't fine. And then a month and a half later, they made an official announcement about it. A month and a half later. I'm just saying, how many people could have been scammed in a month and a half? How many channels could have been wiped out? How many channels could have been taken over, lost, stolen, hacked? I think Autumn's Backyard Garden was one of them. I think she was one of them that got scammed on a different scam. But in that time frame, how many people could literally lose it all? It says that after taking a closer look, we realized that, and this is Google's response. After taking a closer look, I think they put this on Twitter. We realized that this indeed doesn't seem like a generic SPF vulnerability. Thus, we are reopening this, and the appropriate team is taking a closer look at what is going on. We apologize again for the confusion, and we understand our initial response might have been frustrating. Thank you so much for pressing on for us to take a closer look at this. We'll keep you posted with our assessment and the direction that the issue takes regards Google's security team. So the squeaky wheel gets the grease, folks. If it doesn't seem right, we gotta keep pushing the issue. And there's a lot of issues we need to push right now that don't seem quite right. But I'm gonna save that for another video. I might have to save that for Patreon, because this is not the platform for a conservative conversation against the progressive left and their liberal agenda and ideology against certain biological reform that is irreversible. But Plummer highlights that Google has now listed the flaw as a P1 top priority fix, which is currently in progress. Security researchers, as of June 5th, are beginning to understand how Gmail's checkmark verification system is being tricked and how it applies to other email services. And yes, this means Apple Mail and Fast Mail users are going to be affected as well. They must be vigilant. There has been a highly critical response to the vulnerability, or this vulnerability, from the security community, with questions raised about how this was allowed to happen and how poorly implemented the Gmail verification method is. Google needs to fix this ASAP. So once again, credit goes to Chris Plummer for spotting and forcing Google to recognize this problem. The other problem also exists on Instagram. You guys know there's a fake Instagram account out there pretending to be me. Don't fall for the scams, folks. I don't want your money. I will never ask for your money. Promise you. If you want to make sure it's me, only use the links that you see in my descriptions down below. That's it, okay? That is it. Or maybe we can come up with like this security question. I had it when I was a kid. My mom, she made up this security question. She's like, look, if you ever are in doubt, ask the security question. If they don't know the security question, they're not in. And I'm talking, this is in the 80s, okay? This is 80s, early 90s. So maybe we can come up with our own code word so that you'll know it's me. So if you receive a message on Instagram and you say, all right, well, what's the code word? And they don't know what it is, then you know it's not me, okay? We need to come up with that. But then we need to come up with a secure way of sharing that code word. So layers upon layers of security here. Remember, diversity, security, cash flow. I told you guys this at the end of last year, and it is only becoming more and more true every single day. Every single day. Now, the Social Security benefits that are most often associated with payments to retired workers, while those also make up the vast majority of the tens of millions of Social Security Administration SSA issues each month, retirees aren't the only ones. The disabled and survivors also receive income from the agency, as well as low-income individuals that qualify for Supplemental Security Income, SSI. Now, for certain people in the latter group of recipients, they will see an increase in their monthly checks starting in June. This is thanks to the complimentary payment plan approved in 33 states across the nation. So, if you want more information on the complimentary payment plan and the 33 states, drop a comment down below. If there's enough interest in it, I'll be sure to make that video. The Social Security Administration even put up a post on Twitter. Remember, you can make $40 per post on Twitter, per tweet. And it says that we're expanding our outreach to people. That link's in the description. We're expanding our outreach to the people in critical need of financial help who may be eligible for SSI. Learn more about SSI eligibility and applying for benefits in today's blog post. Now, I will say that Michelle and I, we will cover this along with a variety of other topics and expand further on Patreon with free posts and video uploads for everyone. This is for members and non-members. So, click the link down below, meet Kevin, meet Michelle, meet Squirrel Tribe, join the Patreon. But we have videos uploaded and posts uploaded for everybody. You don't have to be a member to get that content. We also have other money-making and side hustle passive income opportunities, as well as I want to bring you guys an update on a new payment or a new portal application that is going to open up in just a few weeks, that is going to issue $1,000 checks to a select few who apply and are approved. They're going to issue $1,000 checks, no strings attached, no repayment, $1,000 stimulus checks for 2 years, 24 months. And that's coming up really, really soon. But you're going to have to know when and where to apply in order to have your shot at being selected to receive that money. What would you do? How would $1,000 a month impact you in a positive way? Think about that. I appreciate you guys watching. Again, I hope you guys are doing fantastic and having an amazing day. Until next time, you all take care, be safe, be kind to one another. I'll see you real soon.